Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we have the review on the Kansept Convict. Now, this was one I was extremely interested in getting because it's a sheepdog design, which I like sheepdog knives and I like their design. So it was very awesome to get this. Thanks to Kansept for being so awesome to us on our channel. So definitely shout out to them. And man, they have some really cool knives for 2021, guys. If you guys haven't seen their catalog, I'm going to link it below. Not only am I going to link their catalog below, but I will try to link this knife and a couple of their other knives below. Definitely go check out their knives, man. Not only are they very, very good quality and extremely well built, they're awesome to deal with and just an awesome company. So for sure, check them out. Now, getting into this amazing knife. Now, I know you see the thumb disc. It is not reversible. So when you take that screw out, it's inset. So there is a hole here for it to press down in. So you don't have to worry about shifting or anything like that. And it's very solid, but you cannot reverse it. Now, that being said, I have found it to be pretty easy to left hand reverse flick. You can't put your finger on the lock bar because it will kind of lock it closed, but as long as you kind of hold it down a little bit, it seems pretty easy to me, and I'm not left-handed. So I got to imagine if you were left-handed, it wouldn't be a big issue. It would just be a reverse flicker for you rather than a thumb flicker for me. Now, that also being said, I can reverse flick it too very easily. So using the disc, it does have a pretty strong detent. Not overly strong, not bad, in a good way. It has a very solid detent. So when you break it, it flies, regardless if you're holding the bottom of that disc or if you're going from the side. It works extremely well. However, I can take my finger and lay it basically on the side right there, and it's very easy to reverse flick. I know a lot of people have trouble doing that. You know, they're not as good as it as I am, but this one's easy. I mean, easy peasy easy. It's so easy to do. So to me, you know, I have no problem doing, you know, opening it any way, and I love it. It fidgets really nicely. It has a nice, so the acoustics over the camera, I can imagine they're not going to be anything great, but in person, the lockup is nice. You can hear it lock up, and you can hear how solid it sounds when it does lock up, which I do like. Even when I spring it out, you know, or just let it open, I can hear it lock up, and I like that. I like that. It sounds, I don't know about expensive, because I don't know if sound or expensive has a sound, but it does feel high end. It really does. Even just like the touch of it and how soft the titanium is, how soft the lock bar is when I unlock it. You see they don't have a cutout right here, but that lock bar is extremely easy to get to. And you can see how smooth it is. Oops, that was my fault. On the drop. So using the lock bar, very easy. And then you can see where it drops at right here is what hits your finger. Now the detent is nice and early, so you're always past that detent ball. Another thing I really appreciate from knives when they do that is I hate fumbling with the detent ball and sitting here like messing around right there. It's always past it, and I very much like that. Now, when you do unlock it, dropping it, it's basically a false shut action. If you give it any influence at all, it'll just drop without an issue. Now, I also sometimes like to pinch it out and then just roll it with my thumb, and you also can roll it. It does have a little bit of a strong detent, so you want to make sure you're not putting pressure on the lock bar when you do the thumb slow roll. Now, the disc is very comfortable. It's very grippy, well, at least from this side. So it does grip your finger very nicely, and it works really good. I'm not a big thumb disc fan, guys, so if I'm saying this feels good and it's nice and comfortable and it works great, it probably does, because I do complain about thumb discs. So all the titanium is well finished and well done. It feels very comfortable in the hand. Let's get to the ergos. I've been going way too long about this. So the ergos are great. It's fantastic in the hand. Now, I do feel this corner right here when I'm like this, but it's not like horrible. I mean, it's just because I'm pushing it forward. Now, if I'm holding it sideways, it's still very comfortable. I feel the clip, but barely. I don't feel it in a hot spot way. So the only thing I feel in any sort of hot spot way is if I really turn it, the corner can kind of poke me right there. But that's never an issue. I never find it as an issue. But I love how close up I can get to that blade. I can get very, very nice up close and personal to that blade, even with utility cuts. Now, some people are going to wonder, does that get in the way with cutting? I have used the heck out of this thing, and it has not gotten in the way, not once. I brought it to work. I've done, I haven't sharpened it yet, so I do want to say that, but I stropped it and honed it. The edge seems to be holding up very well. And we're going to get to the blade here now, because cutting with it cuts very, very good. The geometry is really nice. Let me clean it off. I did work with it today. Sorry, guys. I shouldn't have started this video without cleaning it. The stone wash is really, really nice. I do like their stone wash. Now, the geometry is pretty darn good. It goes through... So... light duty cardboard, like just, regular cardboard you find from packaging or anything like that, this thing burns through. I mean, it literally, it just flies through. It cuts extremely, extremely well. Now, I measured mine at 15 thousandths behind the edge, so that says a lot. It cuts very, very nicely, whether it's push cuts or draw cuts or anything, and we'll get to utility cuts here in a second, but slicing, man, it slices very, very good. So I am very happy with the geometry. It is a full flat, so going from the edge up to the spine, you don't have anything, any other thickness or anything like that. It's just a full flat, which, in most cases, as long as the geometry is right, cuts sometimes the best. Think about a kitchen knife. Most kitchen knives are full flat grinds. That's why they cut so good. Now, the utility cuts are really good. I kind of feel like it gets thicker right here, or taller. Not thicker, taller right here. It kind of has like a little bit of a hump. Now, in the grip for utility cuts, you kind of feel like you have a claw in your hand. And the leverage you have pulling back through your cuts is very nice, very comfortable in the hand. And you can kind of see how it's thinner right here, and then you have like a spot right there where your thumb can kind of land. So even if you're holding it like this, the utility cuts are really good, even like pulling sideways or straight or like this. It's very, very nice in the hand with utility cuts, slicing, all of that, and the geometry is really good for it too. So the tip is nice and acute, but you're not going to have to worry about breaking it. At least I haven't, but you can see it does get down to a thin tip. So you don't want to pry with it, but it's also durable enough to where, it can handle good utility cutting without it rounding off or chipping or anything like that. But it is pretty thin, so, Now, the choil. Sharpening choil, that's the one thing I'm not a fan of. And we'll get into that when we get into the bad. But getting up nice and close to the blade, I do like, though. I do like that I can get right up to the edge. And I never really have to worry about anything blocking me. The clip works so good in and out of the pocket. It's not deep carry, so You know, it's not going to be a deep carry clip, but it works. It slides in and out. It does have that good level of tension to where you don't ever think it's going to fly out of your pocket or anything like that, but it's smooth over and, well, going over the seam of your pocket and pulling out. I love titanium clips like this. I can just look at this clip and tell it's going to work good as long as the tension isn't too strong, which this one's not. It's just the right amount of tension to work good. And the tension from the clip does not rest on the lock bar. It actually rests on the frame. So I know some people don't like that, but just so you know, it's not on the lock bar. The hardware. So it does have T6s all over the place. You have quite a bit. Now, having 4 of them does add to the strength of this thing. And it does have, you know, a regular stop pin, nothing big, not too small, just a regular stop pin. But the lockup is very, very solid from all directions. It is riding on ceramic bearings, and everything's tightly fit in there. So very, very nice. It does have the steel lock bar insert and over travel stop. And this also comes in other options besides this one. They have a blue one that has like a wood grain finish on the handle that comes in a Damascus or a Damas steel. I'm not sure which one it is, but then they have another one as well. They have an all blacked out one, and then they have a regular blue titanium one. So they have other options besides this one. Now, the S35VN, like I was saying, has held up really good. So I can't complain about how, you know, I haven't had to sharpen it. So, and I've used it quite a bit. So that kind of says a lot. And a lot of times I, you know, either want to sharpen a knife because I want to change the angle of the edge, or 2, it needs to be because I've just used it quite a bit. And factory edges, you know, let's just be honest, they don't last very long. But in this case, it's lasting good, and it's not like it's making me just want to change the angle of the edge because it cuts very good. So I've been happy with it. Now, the scales are not milled out at all. So it is just 2 slabs of solid titanium, and the weight, to me, I like it. I personally like it, but I also am not a person that complains about weight. Weight is never an issue for me, ever. I never really think of a knife as, oh man, that's just too heavy to carry. Now, obviously, there's a limit to that, to where I'm not going to want to carry something just because it's ridiculous. But for any regular EDC knife, even large EDC knives, I don't really worry about weight. If you do, this is not heavy at all, even for somebody who doesn't mind weight, or even for somebody who minds weight, I should say. Now, getting to some negative things. Let's talk about some bad things. So, one thing, like I was saying a second ago, I do not like this choil. They did not give you a sharpening choil in reality. Now, people probably look at this and say, yeah, they did. It's right there, right? Well, no, the plunge grind starts right here. It ends right here at the edge. They gave me enough room for 1 sharpening. Not even enough room for me to, if I want to lay back the edge, that thing is gone. Like, look at that. There's the edge. There's the plunge grind. It hits the plunge grind. Now, I will say this though. They left me room back here to where I can put one in myself, so I'm happy for that. And it's very easy on a knife like this. I can literally just take a diamond file, go from both sides, you know, just file it this way and this way to make sure it's symmetrical, and I can put my own choil in without an issue. And, you know, even adding a little finger choil in wouldn't be too bad of an idea for myself, but since I'm so close to the blade, it really doesn't need it. But a nice sharpening choil, I am definitely going to add onto it when I sharpen it. But I shouldn't have to. That's something they should be able to do from the factory. Just give us a good sharpening choil. Give us a good plunge. It's not even just about the sharpening choil. It's about the plunge grind. Give us a good plunge grind. The distance between the bottom of the plunge grind, which right here it starts, right here it ends. So from here to the edge should be a good distance away. Next thing, they used a heck of a lot of T6s. Now there's T6s strip out. They're easy to strip out. They're not as good as T8s. T8s are way better. And using this many, that's 4 times you have a problem that you might run into when using these T6s. And then you also got the clip. The clip is not reversible, so there's really no reason for you to take that one off. I do like that they used a T8 pivot, but you know, I like big hardware. So next thing, and this is probably going to be a complaint for most people, they're going to wish that this flipped over to the other side. A lot of people are going to wish that they could just reverse flick this like I do off of the blade, but they're going to wish that this thing, because that was my biggest question. Could this flip over to the other side? People were thinking that it was just flat on this side and that this is just resting on the surface, but it's not, which I'm happy that it's not just resting on the surface. So if they would have cut out a hole over here, I think that might have been good, to literally cut out a hole that this fits in so that you could flip it over to this side, right? And if you decided to flip it, you would just have a hole here, or not like a full hole, but you know, a dent, an indent. And if not, you at least have something to reverse flick off of if you wanted to. Now, I don't know how that would look. I mean, it would be a little half a hole, not a full hole, but like an indention right there. But that might have been cool because you could use it for the reverse flick. So, you know, it is just a thumb flicking action, but I will say it does feel like great quality. And everything about it does feel, when you get it in hand, it does feel pretty, it feels well done, extremely well done. You know, just between all the softness and how soft it is and the action, you can tell it's very well done. And really, that's it for the negative things. So, and they're nitpicks. They are definitely nitpicks. The only thing that's really a real issue to me is the plunge grind, which I can put in myself, or the sharpening choil / plunge grind. But all in all, man, I really like it. I do. It's well done. It feels really good in the hand. Great action, and it's just well built, and it's so comfortable. It's so easy to carry. And Sheepdog designs great designs. We'll do a couple size comparisons really quick, and then we'll get out of here. Here is the new shark foot, or the new AD 20.5 with the shark foot blade shape. And you can see they're basically the same size, or same length. I think, yeah, no, actually this is a little bit longer, because this is a little compact knife, but you can see the size compared to it. Here is another one of their new knives, which this one is the Stellar, the Kansept Stellar. I do have a review coming out on this very soon. You can see the Stellar is, you know, it is a bit smaller than the Convict. And here is the Spyderco Delica. A lot of people seem to know that knife, and you can see they're pretty close, but the Convict is slightly longer, barely though. I'd basically call them the same length. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and thanks Kansept. You guys are awesome. Peace.